and welcome to Combs Sports Talk. It's your guy, Brandon Combs, here to talk some MLB National League MVP honors. Who should it be? We're going to talk some NFL today as well, some crazy stuff with the Seahawks, Terry and Arnold. Also talk some Baker Mayfield today. But I want to start right here in Chicago. I want to start right here with this Crosstown Classic and the White Sox and the Cubs last night. Fantastic game, kind of a crazy game, to be honest with you. Cubs out-hit the White Sox 13-4. The big story of the night, PCA leads off the game with a home run on the first pitch that he sees, and then hits the walk-off home run. And PCA engaged in these MVP talks with Shohei Ohtani, which right now they are even on the market. Both of them are minus 110 at BetMGM to go ahead and win the National League MVP. And to me, I've been arguing all day with people. I think that that's insane. I think it's crazy for you to be sitting there and not thinking that PCA should be the lead candidate for MVP. That PCA should be the front runner for this, and it should be his award at this point. To lose, to me, is kind of crazy. And I hear the argument about Shohei pitching, and this isn't to take anything away from it. I know Shohei's great. I understand that Shohei's great, but this isn't to take anything away from that. But what PCA is doing with the Cubs is more valuable than what Shohei is doing with the Dodgers. And that's not taking away from anything from his first couple of months when he was pitching before he got hurt and hasn't pitched since. This is to tell you that what PCA is doing on a night in and night out basis, even if Shohei was still pitching, even if Shohei was out there right now, even if Shohei was taking them on tonight, still had an ERA under 2 and was 21 and 1. This isn't that. This is to tell you that on a night in, night out basis, it's more valuable for what PCA is doing than what Shohei is doing for a couple of reasons. Let's take last night into account first of all, because it's probably, obviously the most recent example, but probably the best example. Both of them have the exact same stat line. Both of them go 4 for 5 with 2 home runs and 3 RBIs. PCA's 3 RBIs ended in a walk-off 2-run home run to win the game. Shohei's 3 RBIs were a part of an 11-5 victory over the Colorado Rockies. Still a great night. But you take away his 3 RBIs and his 2 home runs, and they still win 8-5. You take Shohei Ohtani off of the Dodgers, and they're still probably the best team in the NL West. Maybe not the best team in the National League. I'll give you that. I'll give you they're a little bit lesser of a team if you don't have that weapon in Shohei Ohtani in the lineup. I get that. But PCA and what he's doing, every bit of what he's doing, has put the Cubs in a position where they're at. 4.5 games out of the division behind the Milwaukee Brewers. And you see me shaking my head because I don't know how the Milwaukee Brewers continue to be the best team in baseball, but they continue to be the best team in baseball. But if you take away P. Crow Armstrong and you take away his 8 WAR, 7.7, but we'll round it up to an 8 WAR, the Cubs are 3 games out of a wild card spot with teams above them looking up. If you take Shohei and his 7 WAR, 6.7, but again, we'll round up, the Dodgers are still a game above everybody else in the NL West. Still leading that division. They'd still be in a wild card spot. The Dodgers are able to sustain without Shohei Ohtani in a way that the Cubs would not be able to sustain without P. Crow Armstrong. And that's why, to me, when you're talking about value, most valuable player, that's what MVP stands for. It's not the best player in the league, the most valuable player. A lot of people sometimes get that confused with the best player in the league. There's been most valuable players that have won it on losing teams. Hell, we had one here in Chicago in 1989 with Andre Dawson. Or 1988, I should say, with Andre Dawson. this Cubs team and what PCA is doing, this Cubs team is not there without PCA. With all of the injuries, with all of the things that have gone wrong, with all of the underperforming players in that lineup, this should be PCA's award to lose. And it really shouldn't be close. If you think I'm wrong, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, who you think the MVP belongs to. Because to me, this is PCA's award to lose. And the last thing on this Crosstown Classic, guys, I want everybody to hear me. Last night, great game. Fantastic game. A lot of fun. The crowd was crazy the entire time. I love the Crosstown Classic. I love when the Cubs and Sox meet. I love talking trash with some of my Sox fan friends, even though I don't hate the White Sox. But the trash talking is fun. If you fight in the stands, you saw me tweet this out. You can catch me on Twitter at RealCombsy. You can catch me on all sorts of platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever it is. And I'll tell you the same thing. If you fight in the stands during a sporting event, most of the time it's going to be because you can't control your liquor. But even if you're sober and you fight in the stands over your sports team, you're a loser. You're a loser. That what we saw last night in the crowd, first of all, the Cubs fans started it. A White Sox fan was, defending himself, egging it on, whatever the case is. Cubs fan got sucker punched, all of the above, but he also started the fight. It's still stupid. It's still despicable. You're still a loser for fighting in the stands. It's not cool. It's not funny. It's the reason why they don't show it on the TV. Nobody cares. Sure, the drunk fans in the stands, they'll egg it on. They'll cheer. They'll boo. They'll do all of those things. But now what did you do this morning? You woke up. A, you probably had to pay bail. B, you probably also have a court date. What did you accomplish by fighting in the stands over the White Sox and the Cubs, or over any team for that matter? Nothing. A dumb drunk night in the stands just cost you a bunch of money, and now it's going to cost you even more money because you're going to have to take days off of work to go to the court hearings, to do all the things you got to do. For what? For what? It's so dumb. It drives me nuts. Like, I hate all of these stories. I hate watching all of these things happen. All of these videos that you see on TikTok, people fighting and doing all the, whether it's football games, baseball games, soccer matches, wherever you're at. If you are fighting over your team and you are doing dumb stuff over your team, you're a loser. You just are, plain and simple. That being said, look, speaking of losers, the Seattle Seahawks have signed Terrion Arnold. Well, they have not yet signed Terrion Arnold, but they plan to sign Terrion Arnold. And for those of you who don't know the Terrion Arnold story, Terrion Arnold is a 23-year-old cornerback. Pretty damn talented, too. I believe out of Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. Really good player. Solid player. I believe he has, I want to say it's 6 counts. Maybe it's 8. Looking up the story right now. 8. Facing 8 felony charges stemming from a kidnapping and robbery in Tampa, Florida in February. So Terrion Arnold got robbed at his home. Some things were stolen. A lot of money was lost. This is a man who, granted, it sucks anytime you get stuff stolen from you, anytime you get robbed. I'm not saying that he shouldn't have tried to get his stuff back, shouldn't have tried to, do things in a lawful way. But you make millions of dollars in the NFL, man. Especially if you're as good as you're scripted to be, you make a lot of money in the NFL. I don't understand. I don't understand what would cause you if you're Terrion Arnold, to do what he did. And what he did was have a group of his friends, allegedly, I'll say that, allegedly, had a group of his friends kidnap these guys who he thought stole from him, beat them up, torture them, trying to get his stuff back. All while, allegedly, he stayed on the phone before eventually showing up. And all the while, they had the wrong guys anyway. And in the NFL, we have this problem. In the NFL, we have this problem of if you are good at what you do on the field, and if you're good enough on the field, people are going to give you second chances. People are going to give you opportunities, regardless of where you're at. And it's because of what you can do on the field. And the NFL has a huge problem with this. The NFL has a huge problem with domestic violence that they don't take seriously enough, in my estimation. That they allow players constantly to continue to do whatever the hell they want to do in their relationship in a domestic stance, and nothing happens. Now, there are a few cases where stuff happens, right? You look at I'm going to forget his name now, but the defensive back, or maybe he was a wide receiver from the Raiders, who killed somebody while speeding and in a, it might have been intoxicated as well. I can't remember his name now, who went to prison. And then, obviously, you've got the Ray Rice, thing that happened, and Ray Rice never played again. Of course, he was also on the, decline of his career. It was not like he was still a driving force for any NFL team. But nonetheless, nobody signed him after that. But there's been so many more cases in the NFL where guys get another opportunity. Whether you're talking now about Terrion Arnold, who he will be if he does sign with the Seahawks. So I will say this, if he does sign with the Seahawks, he will be on the commissioner's exempt list, which means he will not be able to practice or play. However, he'll be able to attend team meetings and he'll still get paid. What are we doing? What are we doing? Like, for one, if anybody in the real world, I'll say, not in the NFL world, but anybody in the real world, you or I, anybody who's watching right now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, wherever you're watching, if our place of employment got wind that we did something like this, we would have been terminated. Wouldn't have had to wait for, due process, wouldn't have had to wait for a conviction, wouldn't have had to wait for anything else. We would have been fired, and it would have been for, conduct unbecoming, or because, putting bad name on the company, whatever the case is, they would have fired us. We wouldn't have had a dog in the fight. We wouldn't have been able to fight anything. And it wouldn't have been worth it to us to fight anything. Because by the time we get through it, we're paying more for lawyers than anything else. But Terrion Arnold gets to continue his future. Much in the way that a lot of players this offseason have gotten to continue their future. Let's look at the running back out in Green Bay. I mean, we continue to do the things that we're doing, and the charges that you're being charged with, and then sometimes these charges go away. And 90% of the time, it's not because they go away and they're unfounded. 90% of the time, it's because they go away because somebody got paid. Allegedly. The NFL has a huge problem, man. They've got an accountability problem in the NFL. They just do. When you're not accountable for your actions, when you're not accountable for the things that you're doing, whether it's beating women, beating children, or kidnapping and attempted murder and 8 other felony charges, and you're still able to be signed by a team? I mean, come on. I don't know what Roger Goodell's doing. I don't know what the NFL is doing. Hell, I don't know what the Seattle Seahawks are doing. This is a team that just won the Super Bowl. I know how talented Terry and Arnold is. And I get how talented Terry and Arnold is. This is just a bad look. This is just a bad look. And look, Seahawks fans, if he signs and he gets a chance to play, Seahawks fans are going to cheer for the guy. Because that's their team. And that's who's on the field and they want to win. It was the same way for me in 2016 with Aroldis Chapman. Somebody asked me a couple weeks ago on BetMGM Tonight, who's the worst person you've ever had to cheer for because they were on your team that you hated to cheer for? It was Aroldis Chapman. I didn't even skip a beat. Guy's a scumbag. But I cheered for him with the Cubs. I wanted the Cubs to win the World Series that year. So we're not any less to blame as fans when we don't take the stances. I mean, how many people took a stance when, hell, Michael Vick. Yes, what he did was despicable, but look at what Terry Arnold did. Look what Aroldis Chapman did. There were no picket signs. There were no, he doesn't belong here, blah, blah, blah. No, they didn't do 2 years in prison. We still cheer for him. The NFL still allows them to play. It's wild to me. It's wild to me that there's no repercussions for these guys. And I get it as fans. We do. We want our teams to win. And whoever they decide to put in uniform, they decide to put in uniform. And it's hard for us to take a stance on that. Because one, teams don't care. They're going to play the guy anyway. Unless you got every single fan in the fan base to not buy tickets and to have an empty stadium. Owners aren't going to listen. The league's not going to listen. Why? Because on Sunday the stadium's still sold out and they don't care who's on the field. And that's a huge problem in the NFL. Accountability is a massive problem. And nobody talks about it. Nobody wants to say anything bad against the Shield, and I get it. You might get, the NFL might do this or the NFL might do that, but facts are the facts. It's a huge accountability issue in the NFL, and the NFL needs to take note of that. The other thing I want to talk about in the NFL, Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Bucks could very well be a problem in the South, NFC South. It's a division that I think that I'm going to go for a second year and pick the Carolina Panthers to win. I think that New Orleans is going to be a problem. And a little bit of me thought maybe Tampa Bay was going to take a step back with the Vita Vea stuff, not giving Baker a contract. Then I started thinking a little bit. Started thinking about how well Baker Mayfield plays with a chip on his shoulder. Started thinking about how well Baker Mayfield played with the Cleveland Browns, taking them to a playoff. Think about how well he played with the Tampa Bay Bucks over the last 3 seasons. The last 3 seasons where he's thrown for over 11,000 yards, 95 touchdowns, and 33 interceptions. Where he's averaged a quarterback or a passer rating of over 95. I don't know that he's anybody that I want to count out. And I think that he might be the most underrated quarterback in the NFL. I don't know that there's anybody better than Baker Mayfield at playing with a chip on their shoulder. I think he's done it his entire career. I think he's done it his entire life. Everybody's doubted Baker Mayfield from the time that he got drafted out of Oklahoma. People thought he was just going to be Johnny Manziel 2.0. I was one of those people. I was wrong. Baker Mayfield's a dog. Baker Mayfield knows how to win. So when I heard Baker Mayfield today talk at the podium and say, yeah, we're going to shock a lot of people this year, I believe him. I believe that Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are capable of shocking a lot of people this year. Because I think he's that damn good. And when you look at their schedule and you look at who the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have this season, it's not the easiest schedule, but also not the toughest schedule. Their out of division opponents include the Bengals, the Browns, the Vikings, the Packers, the Cowboys, the Steelers, the Bears, the Lions, the Chargers, the Ravens, and the Rams. A vast majority of those games are winnable for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They just are. This team's better than a lot of people are giving them credit for being. And I think Baker Mayfield's way better than people give him credit for being. Now, this is provided Baker Mayfield stays healthy. Jake Browning and Connor Bazelak are not taking you anywhere. But if Emeka Egbuka is healthy, I wouldn't say if Chris Godwin's healthy because the guy's never healthy. Jalen McMillan was a great ad for them. I like Tez Johnson quite a bit. Cade Otton, maybe one of the more underrated tight ends as well. Excuse me. This offensive line is pretty damn good. The defensive line is pretty damn good, especially if you can get Vita Vea back on board. But even without Vita Vea on board, this defensive line is pretty damn good. They're going to be able to rush the passer, and they're going to be able to score on you. I think this Tampa Bay team, I think they might win the South. I might have to change my pick. And why do I have to change my pick? Because I believe in Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is the real deal. And he's been the real deal. And nobody's been paying attention to that. And I don't think that that's going away. I think Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win the NFC South. And I think they do so winning 11 games. Just what it is. Nobody's paying attention. Happens a lot in life. You have a lot of talented people in a lot of situations that nobody's paying attention to. And all it takes is that one thing to make them start noticing. Some of us have it. Some of us don't. Some of us are Baker Mayfields. Some of us are, I don't know, trying to think of a bad quarterback to put in this analogy. Insert quarterback here. Some of us are them. It's just going to take that time for Baker Mayfield for everybody to stop doubting him. Guy's thrown for 4,000 yards. Last year he was just under 4,000 yards. 4,000 yards each of the 2 years prior to that. And like I said, 95 touchdowns and 36 interceptions over the last 3 years. Jesus. It's pretty damn good. 11,000 yards? It's pretty damn good. Maybe it's time to stop doubting him. At any rate, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, what you guys want to hear, what you guys want to talk about. We'll be back with you more tomorrow. Talk some more of this Crosstown Classic. We'll talk some more about the NL MVP race. And you guys let me know in the comments what you guys want to hear, what you guys want to talk about. Let's talk about it. Hit me up at Real Combsy on Twitter. Hit me up on Facebook, Combs Sports Talk. You can hit me up on Instagram as well. Also, Combs Sports Talk. Till then, till next time, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies. See you later.